Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a video that's going to explain how to make RSO suppositories. I know it sounds like a funny thing to make, but for people who have cancer, RSO is a really important product to use, but some people can't tolerate using RSO because it's very potent. Using them as suppositories bypasses the mind so that the person doesn't get that feeling of high. Supposedly also cancer is more active at night, so using a suppository right before bedtime is a perfect way to use them. You don't have to worry about anything. So anyway, today I'm going to be taking some time and showing you what we use in the kitchen. It's a really simple recipe. You use 3 ingredients. The first ingredient that we're going to use, raw cocoa butter, and this is cold pressed and raw. Second ingredient we're going to use today is organic coconut oil, and this is the kind that is solid at room temperature. So you want to have a product that is organic, but you also, this is brand new, you want to make sure that it's white. Okay, I use fractionated coconut oil for other things, but for the suppositories, they need to be, they have the ability to get solid. So this will stay more firm. And then the last ingredient that you need is actually the syringe of the RSO. Okay, the brand that we are using is from our local dispensary, and this can be obtained wherever you get your products. What you're going to also need, these we acquired on Amazon, were molds, little suppository molds. Okay, and we bought a package that contained 4 packages of the molds and 10 pipettes and a removal stick. This is our first time making it, so it's going to be really fun to see how it goes. Now, after we make them, and I'll show you how to make them because the making looks like it's going to be easy, and I guess we'll see how it is. You're going to put them in the freezer. Actually, put them in the refrigerator first, and then you put them in the freezer, and then you take them out as you need them. I'm not going to be demonstrating all that. I'm just going to make the suppositories. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. So there's a few other things that you are going to need, and one of them, I'm going to start turning this towards my stove top now. Welcome to our kitchen. The pot of boiling water or cooked water. Heated water. You're going to need some kind of a double boiler. Okay, so I'm going to use this double boiler to actually put the ingredients in and to mix them. I use a kitchen scale, which I use for tons of things when I'm cooking. The brand that I've got, and I don't push for any particular brand, but I'm using what I have. It's called a Sonly. It's a Sienna, and it has the capacity to do pounds and ounces, but it also has the capacity to do grams. So mine is set today on grams because for the recipe that I'm going to use, I need to have it in grams. Okay, I'm going to pull out all my ingredients. I'll show you the measuring part, and we'll get to it. So I'm back. In case you haven't worked with one of these scales before, okay, hopefully I didn't mess that up. Okay, so you want to have it, you turn it on. Obviously, that's the first thing you do when you use anything. You're going to take an object. I'm going to be weighing out the coconut oil, and you have to weigh it in something. So you're going to take, I've got this nice little container. You weigh it. Okay, there's a button on there that says on tare, and then you're going to click that button. So it's going to zero this back out so that whatever I weigh inside of here is going to be the correct weight. Okay, so I need 9 grams of coconut oil. I've already washed my hands before I did this, so my hands are clean. I'm at 8. I'm going to take a little bit more. Not quite. There we go. Oh. Let's see. Ooh, too much. 1 gram is not that much. Okay. Let's see. There we go. So we're at 9 grams. So 9 grams really doesn't look like very much. I already weighed, before I did this, my coconut. Or sorry, that's not my coconut, that's my cocoa butter, my raw cocoa butter. And it's in these little blocks. This one was just a hair over 10 grams. So I'm using it anyway. I know it's going to make it a little bit more, but that's all right. And so my RSO is in a syringe, and this one's actually labeled. So you can see this one has just over 0.9 grams. So I'm going to do my next thing. I'm going to take a little break, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. So I just put my cocoa butter in the pan. I had put this on our stove, and I boiled the water, and then I've turned it down so that it's hot, but it's not boiling. And this is a pretty strong burner that it's on, and it's on now, and it's starting, the cocoa butter is starting to melt. And now I'm putting in the coconut oil. And the coconut oil is starting to melt. I'm using just a rubber spatula, small rubber spatula. And I'm letting the two start to melt in here. Now I'm not making a really large amount. This is our first time making them. And so I am going to be making, I'm using a recipe that I got from the Always Hope Cancer Group. Hope I should, it's okay that I'm saying that. But I'm getting a recipe that I got from somewhere. And I'm trying to make 100 milligrams suppositories, okay? And so I used a ratio of 1 gram of the oil to 10 grams of the cocoa butter to 9 grams of the coconut oil, okay? And after I melt down the oils, I'm gonna add the RSO. I think it's more important that you all see the process rather than me. But if you can see in here, it's starting to become a liquid. You're not trying to cook this, you're trying to just melt this. It's almost done. The cocoa butter seems to be taking a little bit longer to melt, obviously, than the coconut oil because it's more solid. I'm going to move my scale out of the way. Let me grab just something to set my spatula on. Okay, this is almost melted. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm just taking the syringe and I'm plunging it in. Oop, I gotta take the top off. I haven't used this before. It's my first batch. This is really thick. I knew that this was going to be thick. Okay. And to try to get every last drop, I'm going to use my spatula again. And now I'm just stirring it up. Okay, stirring it up. So my batch here is starting to look a little more greenish, yellowish. Yeah, you can see it's definitely changed colors. It's a really cool color. It's a nice, like, chartreuse. And I don't think it needs to be over that heat anymore because I'm really not trying to get this too hot. I'm actually just trying to combine all of these things together to make the material to go into the suppositories. I'm going to take a break. It's going to have to just thaw or cool down a little bit. Not really thaw. I'm not thawing it. I'm going to cool it down, and then when they're cooler, I'm going to be able to use the pipettes and put them into the suppository molds. One thing that I didn't mention, but I'll mention it now while that's starting to cool, is they say to wash these in warm soapy water. So I washed these in warm soapy water a day or two ago, and they're ready to go. One thing that's kind of cool about these, and I'll show you this before we fill them up, is to get them out eventually, you take off there's a little bullet-shaped plastic top that actually, so when you're filling them, they stay in, but when you are ready to take them out, they're going to be shaped like that little bullet, obviously for the use that you need them for. But you're going to be able to use that poker, that little plunger stick, to get them out once they're frozen. Okay, so I'm going to put that thing back on. I'm going to pause. We're going to let that cool down, and then I'll show you how to fill them up.